So my parents asked me who these two are, and I said they are my favorite singers. They don't need to know the truth. Okay, so now that it's finally over, can somebody please tell me what the fuck I'm supposed to do with my life? I feel like someone took my 2-month-old baby away from me. Not even kidding. You get me right? 2025 was horrible. So fucking awful. And to think a queer hockey show saved it is wild. I think it was sent by God as an apology for how awful 2025 was. I'm feeling so empty inside. I cried when it finally hit me that it's over. Throughout the season, I had this constant feeling in my heart, and it felt like I was going to die from the sheer amount of emotions I was feeling. Like, seriously, I will chase this high for years. For years. Like, when would I ever feel something so sexy, so beautiful, so lovely, and yet so intense ever again? Okay, time out, time out. Before we move ahead, I want to give a little disclaimer. I am 22. I know I don't look 22, but I am. I am legal. I just felt like saying this because some of the things which I'm going to say in the video are not appropriate. So I found this show at a very Canadian time in my life. I remember watching the trailer and then rewatching it an embarrassing number of times. Hadn't read the books when the first two episodes were dropped. I was not aware what I was signing myself up for. I was kind of aware what the show was about, but I still went in with zero expectations. And then I watched the first two episodes and I was hooked. This was the first time in my life I ever went back to rewatch a show. I'm not kidding. I'm not a show rewatcher. I only rewatch like old Bollywood movies and stuff, but other than that, I feel like I'm mentally incapable of rewatching shows because the first time I watch a show, I go all in, and then rewatching it again won't make me feel the same, and it just gets kind of annoying. But Heated Rivalry, baby, I have rewatched it like an unhealthy number of times. I know each fucking frame beat by beat, and each rewatched unlocked new levels of emotions. This is not an exaggeration. You know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm just glad I'm not alone. So the next same thing I did, which I always do when I have a new hyperfixation, is create a new Pinterest board. I had no one to talk to about this show because no one in my friend circle was watching it when it aired, and sometimes it felt like I was in prison screaming alone at night while my cellmates were fast asleep. So the next sane thing I did was change my GC name to Hollander's Offsprings. Right now it is Shelia's Offsprings because they called each other by their first names. So anyway, to give you some context, the GC has 3 members, including me, and the other 2 are men. I mean boys. Feels weird to call them men, but anyways, they were not thrilled. They had to endure the same thing when I was watching The Summer I Turned Pretty and had changed the GC name to Conrad Hamar Marad, which basically means Conrad, my husband. But this time they were seriously about to kick me out of this GC. But you can't kick someone out who literally created the GC. Like, I was one of the founding fathers. Come on. I bet they secretly watched this show. I just can't prove it. At least one of them definitely does. Then I thought of creating a fan account. I had a One Direction fan account when I was 15, and while I loved it, I do not need that kind of stress in my life right now. Then I thought of going on Twitter, and then I stopped myself right there. That's enough. The information you get there against your will traumatizes me. When I found out that the episodes dropped every Friday, I instantly knew I was fucked. Those 7 days felt so fucking long. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Of course, I used to cry thinking about how the second episode ended.
Wow, I haven't stubbed my toe in 5 months, I said with joys. I was then shot 57 times.
The week-long wait for each episode was torture, but it was important. Like, they waited for months to meet each other. I can definitely wait for a week. Then episode 3 came out, and not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed because Shane and Ilya were on the screen for like 2 minutes, and the entire episode was dedicated to Skip. But, I was such a fool. I did not know why this episode mattered or how that was going to change Shane and Ilya's relationship. I saw this comment on Instagram defending episode 3, and that made me dig for answers. I needed to know. Such a hope for information. It was actually after this episode that I decided to finally read the books. I'm so glad I did because God, I love them. I was reading Heated Rivalry at night and reading this in the morning, just to tone it down a bit. Duality of women. At this point, I had already watched the first 2 episodes for like 2 to 3 times already. But the rewatch after reading the books was the most emotional one for me. It was like I had context for each scene and every look meant something. The rooftop scene in Vegas? That made me tear up this time. I was feeling so sorry for Ilya for everything he was carrying alone. And for Shane too, because if he had known, he would have definitely hugged and reassured him the way he did in episode 5. The way he said Hollander here, this will not be the only time he will be saying Hollander like that, and Shane will be leaving like that. Those teary eyes of Shane kept me awake at night. The bathroom scene, then the Vegas scene, and then watching Ilya lift his first Stanley Cup. They say AI is going to replace humans. Can your fucking AI do this? Can your fucking AI yearn? I'm afraid Ilya is never going to win any argument in this marriage. I was so sure that Shane was the one who fell in love first, but boy was I wrong. My poor baby Ilya was dealing with so much, and that too alone. His toxic family back in Russia, who never made him feel loved. His father, who never had a nice thing to say about his son. His fucker brother, who never cared about him. Only his friend Svetlana and the memories of his dead mother were all he had. And one day, in all this chaos, he met this short, boring Canadian hockey player with stupid freckles and a weak backhand. His words, not mine. He fell in love the moment he saw Shane, but he was just too scared to acknowledge that feeling. Ilya Rozanov, they could never make me hate you. I love both of them, and if you ask me to choose one, I just can't. And I'm not saying this in the way people do when they ask something like, "Oh, do you like beaches or mountains?" And then they go, "Oh my god, this is so difficult, I can't choose." And then literally end up choosing one. No! When I'm saying I can't choose, I just can't fucking choose. If you ever see me getting kidnapped or manipulated by these men, don't fucking help me. I'm right where I want to be. Honestly, even if you haven't read the books, the show stands on its own. It is very true to the books. It's very faithful, very honest, and the book to screen adaptation is just too good. This show is funny as hell. It got me giggling and kicking my feet in my luteal face. I also felt like I was on constant ovulation because everything this man does, it just makes me go feral. After their first commercial, when they were talking, look at the way Shane's standing. Giving his room number 0.5 seconds after saying, "We can forget that happened in there." Folded under zero pressure. This elevator scene, oh my god. First of all, look at the way he's standing. Hot. Then the way he closed the door. Why was that hot? Am I insane? It's not just me, right? Alright, everyone, listen. I was going to do this later, but clearly I have lost control. But before we begin, I would like to say that this is all for Ilya and not Connor. Although I do find him hot, but he's a real human, and I just don't want to say something that might be inappropriate. I'm just trying to be respectful. The way he pushed Shane against the wall and kissed him. The way he is standing here. The way he's looking here. The way he lifted Shane's chin. The way he kissed him here. The way he said "I love you" to his teammate. Why was that hot? Okay, kill me already. The way he looks while working out. Slutty glasses. Sir, where is your hand? I have read the book. I know this whole club scene was traumatizing, but still. The way he turned back to find Shane in the crowd, this specific look back, and then the way he drank that and left, the way he kissed her, him just existing. My favorite. Do I even need to say anything? It's crazy how in half of these scenes he was going through a lot, and then there's me. I'm a sick woman. Thank you for listening. Arch rivals? The only arch I saw was that back arch. Yuna saying fuck Rozanov, fuck him right up the butt. Man, this scene is going to haunt Yuna. Why does Shane wears the same blue shirt? I have seen it like 3 or 4 times. I know the budget was tight, but it can't be that bad, right? They could have used Hudson's closet.
I took this from a chick, actually. Left it at my place after, after a land leopard made her purr. Wow.
Okay, the way Scott Hunter appears in the frame here had me dead. His gaydar went off, and the panic on Shane's face when Scott says he is in the room next door to Roz. Then in this scene, Scott goes, "Where's your boy Roz now?" I just love how Scott clocks that shit. It was a normal question, but the way Shane reacted totally gave it away. Up until this point, he was just suspecting, but now he knows for sure. Their flirty texts were honestly one of the best parts of the show. You know how in Modern Family, Phil and Claire pretend to be Clive Bixby and Juliana for their secret Valentine's Day rendezvous? I genuinely feel like these two could do the same, like Shane and Ilya slipping into their fake names and, just for fun. Wow, I can't even say the word just without thinking about this man. Okay, but 9 inches is seriously a bluff. Like, come on, it's not possible, right? Shane was really riding that shit like rent was due. Dude, what's up with JJ? This whole interaction killed me. And Shane's reaction here again. Can you all please stop stressing him out? What the fuck are these stretches? I cannot take anyone seriously who does this. I don't care. Okay, I have this one memorized. Wow, this Montreal girl really works here, brother. Shut your idiot face, Marley. You're straight up blushing, Ross. Never in life have I blushed. Russians do not do this. Shane slammed Ross against the wall. He was so scared because look at the way he said, oh my god. Look at the way he's standing here. My favorite gender is Shane standing and smiling there waiting for Ilya to make the first move. And the funniest of all, okay. Mr. Hollander, Mr. Businessman, Mr. Landlord. The hand movements are important. Shane trying to rage bait for the first time in his life but got rage baited. The Empreg joke was 10 on 10. Shane doing yoga and Ilya watching that shit. Again, look at the way he's standing, leaving some space for Jesus. Shane doing that weird stretch again. Whatever this was. Episode 6 was just pure comedy. Look at the way Ilya's standing. And the funniest scene of the show. Man, I love him so much. Also, this scene where Shane was all stressed out but Ilya was having the meal of his life. Someone on Instagram said that this is probably the first home-cooked meal Ilya has eaten since his mom passed away. Let's just sit with that for a minute. Did you at least kiss the brick before throwing it at me? Okay, now give me 2 minutes because I need to crash out. I have to talk to Ilya.
So we didn't learn. We didn't learn from last time. We didn't. So, we didn't learn. Comprehension. We didn't learn.
I could marry Svetlana. She would help me. Pack up your bags. We are going back to the airport. Do you not remember what happened last time? Shane dated the first woman he vibed with. And then at the end of the episode, you were both staring into our souls like it was our fault. There is this one fan theory that has absolutely blown my mind. You know that rooftop scene in Vegas in episode 1 and then the hospital scene in episode 5? Shane asks Ilya to come to his cottage for the summer and tells him not to go back to Russia. And in the Vegas scene, Shane was clearly about to ask something but couldn't. What if that's what he was trying to ask back then too? Because that's crazy. There is no such mention in the book, but I'm genuinely blown away by people's attention to detail. Okay, let's talk about the women of this show because, wow. I just love how women were written here, especially when so many shows and movies clearly fail at this. Years of bad television had me on the edge for the entire time because tell me why I was constantly bracing myself for the worst. I was worried that Shane's relationship with Rose was going to turn bad and then Rose would become the stereotypical toxic ex whose only purpose was to make Shane realize that Ilya was the one. I was worried that Svetlana would send some evil text to Shane pretending to be Ilya. Something like, I don't ever want to see you again, and then delete it like some soap opera villain. I was worried that Kip's co-worker at the smoothie shop was going to hit on Scott the moment Kip wasn't around. I loved how Rose carried that conversation with Shane. I think that is what gave Shane the courage to finally express himself. And the sweetest part was how she asked Shane to stay friends. This scene is so special, it still makes me cry. Svetlana truly loves and cares for Ilya. When his father died, she was there for him. She definitely knew about Shane and understood just how deeply he was in love with him. And oh my god, Elena. Everyone deserves a friend like her. I just love how women in the show were shown as their biggest supporters instead of being used to bring them down. And obviously, the best, Hollander. When Shane came out to his parents, Yuna and Shane had this emotional chat outside, but the moment they got inside, she was back into action. She was like, enough tears, it's time to lock in. You can be gay, but you cannot be broke. Devil works hard, but Hollander works harder. Rome was not built in a day, and neither was that damn cottage. Okay, give me another 2 minutes because I need to crash out again. So I heard some media outlets or people, I don't even know who exactly, but they asked about Connor's and Hudson's sexuality. Well, the media and the people can go fuck themselves. Why does it fucking matter? I genuinely can't understand why some people think it's okay to ask such questions. Like, where do they even get the nerve? It actually amazes me how some people can look someone dead in the eye and ask something so invasive, fully aware that they are making them uncomfortable and still go through with it. I understand why people ask questions about relationships, even though the actors don't owe the public anything. But these questions are somewhat still tolerable. But this is crossing a line. Please be normal. Please be kind. What I do love is how Connor and Hudson handle such situations with so much grace and class. Because if it were me, you don't want to know how that would have gone. I don't encourage this type of behavior, but fandoms are a lot crazier than you think. They don't tolerate shit like this, so maybe check under your bed before you go to sleep. You guys are not asking the right questions. You should be asking something like, what color? It's big. You're homeless. Is this a Jeep? Did your mom buy all these pillows? When something becomes so precious to me, I feel like the need to gatekeep it, but I did not with this one. I've been praying since day one for the show to blow up and reach everyone around the globe. And I'm so glad that it is becoming bigger and bigger. I wanted everyone to feel the same emotions I feel when I watch this show, and even the interviews. Man, I love the interviews. These men are they are just perfect. I love their friendship. I love their humility. I love their thoughts. I want to meet them. I want to be their friend. And Connor, yes, I'm still sexually obsessed with you. I feel so grateful that I got to know more about them through these interviews. They are such incredible humans and so funny and so fucking unhinged. When I think of Connor, I think of Bart. He's a real human, and I just don't want to say something that might be inappropriate. I'm sorry. Let's try again. When I think of Connor, I think of sunshine. And when I think of Hudson, I think of land leopard.
I'm Land Leopard, still fight crime, I'm working at it, actually working on my athleticism online. You can follow me, Land Leopard 43, Land Leopard was taken.
And Connor, please drop the glute routine. With dumbbells, without dumbbells, I don't care. I just need them bells. Also, it's so refreshing to see these young, talented actors on their debut show get so much love because they fucking deserve it. They are incredibly talented. I'm not even exaggerating. You need to see them. It was their acting that made me stay. I don't stay just for smart. Not that I would skip those scenes, obviously. But in my defense, what if they said something while doing it that was important for the plot? They literally called each other by their first names while doing it. Honestly, even if they held each other for an entire episode, I would watch that shit. I would rewatch that shit. I just want to see them in many more projects, together or apart. They deserve every bit of success they are getting. I might cry now, but I will admit that somewhere along the way they have made a lasting impression on me and my life. It's so funny because they don't even know I exist, and yet they genuinely make me feel so happy in a way that I haven't even felt with a lot of people I've met in my life. When I watch their interviews and hear them talk, there is just something about it. I don't even know how to explain it, but it feels so raw, so real, and just so fucking amazing. I love when people are unapologetically themselves. It gives me hope. Maybe the world isn't all fake and closed off. Maybe people can just be themselves, feel things deeply and love deeply. I'm just grateful that this show exists. It helped me find a part of myself that I did not even know was there. I didn't know I could feel so deeply for strangers. Maybe because I crave genuineness and kindness in people, and when I find it, I can't help but love them. This show and the book made me feel a lot of emotions, and I want to remember feeling so alive when I'll be old. Okay, so this was actually my first YouTube video, and I'm feeling a bit emotional right now. But if you liked it, please give it a like, and thank you for watching.